Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the Junk Baller podcast. My name is Michael Greenwood. As always, I am here with my good friend, actually best friend, Kevin Otterbein. Kevin, how you doing?
Better late than never.
Heyo. Are you late?
Well, you said this is our latest podcast.
Oh, it is our latest. Yeah, because it's new.
Yeah.
Okay.
So better late
All right.
than never.
All right. Or whatever. Jeez. Gosh. Anyway, welcome to the newest podcast. I'm not going to say latest anymore because that seems to be a problem with people here. Our newest podcast. We haven't done one in a couple weeks. It's been a little bit. I've been really busy. It's been me, honestly. I've been really busy this summer. Since the last time we talked, I went to Cleveland. And Cleveland, honestly, not that bad. I liked Cleveland a little bit. It's small, but there's definitely some parts of Cleveland you don't want to be around. But there was some good restaurants that we went to, and Progressive Field was nice. Obviously, I haven't been to every ballpark yet, but it's lower on my list just because I've been to some pretty good ballparks. But overall, pretty good. But yeah.
So Cleveland's not the armpit of America.
I mean, is that considered Ohio the armpit of America, or is it Cleveland itself?
I guess you could expand it outward to include the whole state, right?
I mean, I guess I might have been just in a good area. I don't know, but it definitely didn't seem that bad. I mean, we had to pick our friend up from the airport, and we were a little bit early, and we decided to go in a Goodwill just to waste some time. It was pretty white trash. It was pretty bad. It was bad. That was the only bad part.
Well, to me, I mean, I've never been to Ohio, but the perspective I have is that it's weird and it smells probably, which is a lot like an armpit.
Okay. I don't remember any bad smells, honestly.
Okay.
Even the hotel was pretty good. We were impressed by the hotel, although it did. But anyway, that's another story. And then we went to Cedar Point when I was out. It was a long weekend. I've had a lot of long weekends, people. I will not have a free weekend until mid-August, and I've been busy since, I think, the first weekend in June or something like that.
Yeah. Well, while you were going out to Cleveland, I was up in New England.
That's right. Where did you go?
Visiting another ballpark, notching another stadium off of my list. Went to Fenway for a Red Sox and Mets game.
Wearing a
Yankees hat. Just the hat.
It's
nothing else.
He texted me a little bit before, and I was just like, what did you text me? You said, ready for something, like you're ready or prepared for battle or something?
No, I think I was like, I'm surrounded or something.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, you did this to yourself. Like, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't do that at a... No, I probably would, because the Phillies rivalries really aren't
to be honest, I didn't get it that bad.
No.
I mean, for the most part, as long as you're not being a jerk and you're just kind of enjoying yourself, people will leave you alone.
Did they razz you a little bit?
What?
Did they razz you at all?
There was one guy who was like a little angry at me. I think legit. He was a Mets fan.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But I mean, the word I would use for Fenway is cozy. It's a cozy ballpark. It's like they dropped a ballpark in the middle of a neighborhood in Boston.
That's kind of how Wrigley was a little bit. I mean, it was a little bit more, I don't know. It definitely felt like it was just in the middle of a town. Like not even like a big city, but it was a little small town, kind of like Wrigley.
Like if it wasn't for the signs, I wouldn't know where the ballpark even was.
Yeah, I would agree. That's kind of how Wrigley was, because we got off the train and I was like, oh, it's here. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, when people say Fenway is small, it is a small place.
Oh, okay.
Because they built it on a city block, so they could fit in what they could. And for anyone who's claustrophobic, the concourses are like your worst nightmare. Yeah. It is super packed and tight, but it does have charm. It looks like they renovated some things recently. Yeah. Like that the seats weren't super cramped. They had cup holders, unlike apparently Cleveland, right?
Progressive Field in Cleveland did not have cup holders. That was my biggest gripe. I had my beer in my hand. I wanted to put it down to write and to do the scorebook, and I'm like, where do I put it? And I'm so worried that someone's gonna kick it over as we're cheering or something like that. Oh my gosh! Oh, I had a foul ball almost go right to me. I was 5 feet away. I was like almost directly behind home plate, maybe a little bit to the right, and Alec Boehm hit a foul ball, and we are 2 rows up in the upper deck. It was literally coming right to my hand. I had my hand right there, and I was direct, like straight line to me, and it hit the facing of the upper deck. If it was 5 more feet towards me, I would have had a foul ball. Like, I wasn't dropping that thing. No way I was dropping it. I was ready. My 2 buddies next to me, they're like, oh, there's a foul ball? Holy crap, that was really close. I'm like, you guys are idiots. You're not even paying attention. Shout out to Mike and Hunter.
Yeah. And shout out to Dave and Sandy Croft, who were gracious enough to take that hour drive to Boston so we could go to the ballpark. Yeah. We only got 4 innings in because it got rained out, but I'm still glad I got to go.
And it was all over social media because the concourses and everything were flooded.
It wasn't when we left. It wasn't flooded like that.
Yeah.
It was crammed, but it wasn't flooded. I guess that was after we were already gone.
Yeah. So it's a little update on us. You know, we're not going to get into the trade deadline stuff because neither of our teams did anything super. I got Mike Lorenzen and Castro, who was in the minor leagues, but Lorenzen pitched well today. But you guys got a reliever,
Kenya Middleton.
Yeah,
not exactly
superstar.
I mean, they already have the best ERA in baseball, bullpen wise. So I don't really understand.
If you told me that, I would have not believed you.
No, I'm serious. They have the best ERA for the bullpen ERA. It's the best in baseball.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's surprising to me.
And they got a reliever.
I would. You know what? Let's get better at something that we're already the best at.
Yeah.
All right. So none of our teams did anything dramatic and anything.
No, but as of the recording of this, you have the second wild card spot, right?
We might have the first. Honestly, I can't remember. It's either the first or the second.
You are the second.
Second. Okay. Yeah. So the Giants won. Okay. Yeah. I haven't been keeping super track of the standings. I just been know when we're in and when we're out. That's kind of how it is. But I know we were projected if this season ended today, we play the Giants, which I think I would take a 3-game series against the Giants. I would do that. And you guys are struggling a little bit.
I mean, yeah, they're 3 games back, though. It doesn't feel like 3 games back at all.
And I'm coming from a far away perspective. It feels like you guys are 15 games back.
I feel like the All-Star break, except for the Royals series, they've lost almost every game. Every time I would get a score alert, I've hardly watched the games because they're mostly at night. But it's just every time I see a loss or they struck out 30 times over 2 games.
Yeah, I want to say something real quick because you said you don't watch the games because they're at night. Kev goes to bed in around 7, 8 o'clock, pretty much. So. We do these podcasts around 6 o'clock, and then as soon as we're done, Kev goes straight to bed pretty much.
Yeah, sometimes I get the sillies as we record.
Whereas I've been up till 2 in the morning the past couple nights. It's whatever. So anyway, let's move on. And I have a fun fact for us today. It's my turn to do a fun fact. And we've had a couple fun facts about this one player. Because, honestly, you could do an entire freaking podcast on just the stats of this guy. But Tony Gwynn, he had played in his lifetime, 2,440 games. Okay, so over 2,400 games. He has a career 4-hit games of 45 of those. He had 45 career 4-hit games. In his career, he also had 34 2-strikeout games. Just think about that for a second. He had more 4-hit games in his career than he did 2-strikeout games. And he only had 34 games where he struck out twice in his entire career. 34 times. That's it. I mean, Kyle Schwarber does that in a week. And that's not even 34 games, but he does it in a week. Yeah. It's truly incredible what Tony Gwynn freaking did. And
he, to me, is probably the last pure hitter that I can imagine, or at least, I mean, there's been good hitters since then.
Yeah. Do you think Arise could be close?
It's too early to tell.
It's too early, but he's pretty good in terms of he doesn't strike out. He pretty much just gets the bat on the ball, and he's ridiculous at it. He's the closest thing I've seen to it since Tony Gwynn.
It would be good to see that. I would love to see a high average baseball player again.
I wish he was still with the Twins, but now he's with the Marlins, and he's driving me nuts. It's just every little thing he does. It's like, freaking. But he's good. I like him. I hate that he's a Marlin, but I like him. So there's our fun fact for that. We didn't have one last time. I think we had a miscommunication last time, and I'm going to take the blame for it because I definitely have that bad communication. Kevin and I have had a couple miscommunications this week already with scheduling for this weekend. Didn't realize he was going to be in Connecticut, and I thought he was coming to a Frisbee tournament with me.
And I thought it was next weekend when it was really this weekend, the Philly Open, but that's okay.
That's okay. But so we're going to move on to our next thing, which we started doing recently, which is either a quiz or a top 5 of something. I remember a little bit ago I did my top 5 rotation for my generation, for what I grew up in. But this time I'm going to do a little more homegrown type of thing because a lot of our listeners are Phillies fans. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do my top 5 favorite Phillies of all time. All time. And I think it's because, to be fair, I didn't put any. I won't say anything. I'll just do my top 5 Phillies of all time, starting with number 5. And this one could be a little bit of a controversy, just because he's been in the news recently because he just made the Hall of Fame. But in Phillies lore, he's not really regarded as a favorite among a lot of people because he left under certain circumstances because he thought that the Phillies weren't pushing to win. He thought that they weren't a winning organization, even though they offered him like an 8-year deal in like the $100 million range, something like that. But he turned that down, said they weren't a winning organization, and he got traded to the Cardinals. But the reason why I have him in my top 5 is I grew up watching him. He was the first player that I loved watching, and that's Scott Rowland. Scott Rowland was my number 5 favorite Philly. And I probably have Phillies fans saying that's a dumb thing to have, but he was the first Philly that I watched growing up. When I was a kid growing up, Scott Rowland was the best player on the team, probably next to Bobby Abreu. But Rowland was something that I looked up to. And I remember on one of my baseball cards, Scott Rowland was my favorite player on one of my things that I listed. Scott Rowland, number 5. I honestly recently inducted the Hall of Fame. So honestly, can't blame you. I mean, my favorite player when I first started was a Hall of Famer.
A lot of Phillies will blame you.
Yeah.
Phillies fans will blame you.
Yeah, a lot of Phillies fans will blame me. But the next guy on my list, a lot of Phillies fans will not be surprised by this. He is known as The Man by Harry Kalas. As I'm saying this, Kev is trying to figure out who it is before I say the name. He is eligible for the Hall of Fame next year, and he is regarded as one of the best second basemen. Oh, there you go. One of the best second basemen of his time, but is he Hall of Fame worthy? But he's definitely regarded as probably everyone's favorite Philly player, a lot of people's favorite Philly player during the early 2000s, mid-2000s, and that is Chase Utley. Chase Utley.
Yeah. I think for anyone who maybe coming from a Yankee fan's perspective, I would compare it to maybe being like in terms of a favorite ball player, like a Bernie Williams sort of player.
Yeah.
Someone who's like really beloved by the fan base.
Yeah. I mean, Utley never did anything wrong in any sense. He had the injury issues. We were frustrated with that, but he would always bust it out to first base every single time. Never complain about anything. And he had that kind of Philly personality where, who was it? It was the pitcher it was in the playoffs during, I think it was 2010. I can't remember the pitcher, but it was a lefty for San Francisco. And he kind of threw over to first base and then kind of sparked off to Utley. And Utley's like, looked at him like, what are you saying? And then Utley's like, yeah, whatever, like, F you, like, screw you, man. And Philly fans just loved it. Obviously, when he won the World Series, world effing champions, like, that was kind of the culmination. Like, all right, he's one of us. So, but yeah, Chase Utley, number 4. People will probably have him higher on the list, but I figured I'd have to have him on my list. I have a jersey of him. I love him. I would probably go to his Hall of Fame ceremony if he got inducted. All right, number 3, who is the only current player playing that is on my list. He didn't grow up and he wasn't in the organization when we started, but I have a. It's not. What's the word? What's the word for it? I have a inkling for this position just because I played it in high school. But JT Realmuto is my third favorite Philly, and he's my current favorite Philly.
Over Utley.
Over Utley. Yes.
Interesting.
So I love Utley, but I love this is just like a sense and everything. Like I loved Utley, but like I didn't follow him super closely because there's two other Phillies that I'll go on and explain. But I've just loved JT. He's honestly the best athlete on the team. He can run just as fast as anyone other than Trey Turner probably, and he can hit 25 home runs, and he's fastest catcher in the league. A catching position, they don't run fast. Look at Yadier Molina. He's obviously the slowest player in the league. And then you got JT who can steal bases, beat a ground ball at the first base, and also throw at a guy because he's the quickest pop time in the major leagues. He's definitely having a down year this year. I think just last year caught up with him because he played in so many games. But I love JT. He's just my type of player. So JT, number 3. Number 2, he is one of the main reasons why the Phillies won in 2008 because he did not blow a save at all. But he did blow a save during the All-Star game that year. And we had traded for him during the offseason from the Astros. And he was kind of hit or miss. He was known for giving up the home run to Albert Pujols in the NLDS in 2005, I believe. I think it was 2005 or 2006.
When he was with the Astros.
When he was with the Astros, yes. Yeah. Where Pujols tanked one over the freaking train tracks at Minute Maid Park. Yeah. Still, honestly, one of the farthest home runs I think I've ever seen. But when he was with the Phillies, he was perfect. And that's why we needed him for the 2008 postseason run. Brad Lidge, my second favorite Philly. He's loved, but I feel like he's not as loved as a lot of other players during that time. I feel like, a lot of the other players get a lot of the shine. I'll go through my honorable mentions later, but Brad Lidge is my number 2. And that leads me to number 1, who had 2 stints with the Phillies during his time. He is a no-nonsense guy. Anytime that he got the ball to pitch, he got the ball and threw it right away. Wasn't wasting any time. He'd be perfect in the pitch clock era. But we got him from the Cleveland Indians at the time in 2009 because Cole Hamels was struggling. And we were like, you know what? We got to go get another pitcher. And we went and got Cliff Lee. Cliff Lee is so much fun. He's my all-time favorite Philly. And he really wasn't even a Philly for super long. He was a Philly from trade deadline of 2009 to that offseason. And then we traded him to get Doc in that 3-team deal. And then after that 2010 season, because he got traded to Seattle first, then got traded to Texas during the deadline in 2010. And then he was a free agent. And it was between, apparently, the Yankees and the Phillies, from what I remember, to sign him. But he didn't want to go to the Yankees because he was treated poorly during the 2009 World Series, and he loved Philadelphia. He said he loved it. And so we signed a 5-year, $125 deal with the Phillies in the offseason of so that was 2011 season. And I remember it was Christmas. It was like Christmas Day when Cliff Lee signed. I remember that moment. I woke up and there was a Post-it note on my door saying, because we didn't have phones at the time. I didn't have a phone at the time. We got a Post-it note saying, Cliff Lee, 5 years, $125, back to the Phillies. It was Christmas. It was the best day. It was one of the best days that I've ever had. Obviously, we didn't win the World Series with him, which is a shame because 2011, we had the best team ever. But Cliff Lee, he just gets the ball and he throws it. He doesn't give a crap. He just throws it. He's a country guy, and he could hit home runs. He would bust it out when he was pitching and hitting. Love Cliff Lee.
Interesting list.
Interesting list, yeah. Again, these are not like my best players. Like these are my favorite players.
Oh no, I'm aware of that. I'm surprised that there's a couple people that may have been omitted. One of which is Holiday.
Yeah. So I have honorable mentions. Doc is one of them. Chooch is another, and then Raul Ibanez is another that who you have a great connection to too, because he had some clutch moments for you as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So those are my honorable mentions. I love Utley, or I love Rollins and Howard, but in terms of like my favorite Phillies, like the other guys were my favorite. Like, I love Rollins. I love Howard, Jason Worth, Victorino. Trying to think of other guys.
Ruiz.
Chooch. Yeah, it's Ruiz. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Chooch is his nickname.
Okay.
Carlos Ruiz. But
Hunter Pence.
So I loved Hunter Pence when we got him, but as soon as he left and went to the Giants, I loathed Hunter Pence. He was so annoying as a Giant. But yeah, that's my top 5 favorite Phillies of all time. Let me know in the comments of my Instagram or whatever. Just shoot me a DM. I don't care. Tell me I'm wrong in something but those are my favorite. They might not be the best, but those are my favorite Phillies of all time.
Interesting, sir.
Yeah.
Once again.
Yeah.
Are you a little Stitious?
Just a little Stitious.
Just a little Stitious.
Just a little Stitious.
Okay. Well, as you know,
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
Okay, good. Thank you for completing that. He is the office quotes guy. Him and a friend of ours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They just know it all, and they go to trivia nights and they beat everyone pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 1-2 times so far. Yep. Okay. Move
Dork.
on. Yeah. Okay. You have no room to talk. You could win any trivia other than Office, pretty much. There's just general knowledge. Kev's got it. Which we haven't gone to a trivia. Honestly, we should.
No, we need to.
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah, you were telling me there was one on Tuesdays.
Yeah, there's one at Tuesdays at Workhorse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do that.
Yeah,
we should do it.
We should. But I think baseball among the other sports that are out there is very ingrained with superstitions.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
No kidding.
And why is that? Why is baseball more than the other sports? You know, I mean, it's not like basketball or football or soccer don't have superstitions either. It seems like baseball has very specific ones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are
you asking me a rhetorical question?
Yeah.
Okay. It's rhetorical. I'm not answering.
Yeah. Well, I think I was kind of reading into it because it sparked my curiosity. It's like, why do we have not stepping on the chalk lines or, doing the same rituals every time you step up to the plate kind of deal? Well, for one, baseball is a losing game. And what I mean by that is that there's the greatest chance of losing. I mean, think of batting average, for instance.
Yeah.
No one in baseball history has ever had or finished a season with a 500 average. So every batter ever in the league is below the average. They fail most of the time. And same thing with pitchers, I think, as well. Not to the same degree, but there's a great risk of, giving up the home runs and letting the bases steal. And with the thing with superstitions, too, is that baseball can also be a very anxious sport.
No kidding.
Well, not as much.
Look at Trey Turner.
Yeah, look at Trey Turner. Exactly.
Oh, my God.
He's your number 6, right?
He's my number 6 hitter?
No, favorite Philly of all time.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I mean, I love Trey, but it's not. No. Anyway, we're in the junk ball section right now. Okay, Let's talk about that.
Yeah. And I think superstitions in baseball is a way to calm batters' nerves and pitchers' nerves and everybody else's nerves. So I guess I wanted to ask you first, since you grew up playing baseball.
Correct.
Did you have any superstitions of your own?
There's one that I would do kind of like, not like a ritual, but I know that every time that I would it would just have to be done. Anytime a ball was hit to me, I would tap, with my glove, I would hit my left thigh. Like I'm preparing to get the ball. That's the one thing I can remember that I would do. And I didn't realize it until, I was in high school. I was like, okay, I do this every time. And then it got in my head. I'm like, okay, I got to do this every time now. I'm trying to think of others that I would do. Let's see. I mean, I didn't wear batting gloves when I was in high school just because I hated, but that's not necessarily superstition. My team sucked, by the way. Upper Marion. Gosh. Shout out to everyone, all the Upper Marion guys, if they're listening. Love you guys, but we were terrible. They know it. Honestly, I can't think of if I was superstitious about anything other than that. I always have to have something on my left wrist. So it was hard for me as a pitcher. Like, it's just like, even right now, like I have a wristband on my left wrist. That's a weird quirk about me. Like, I have to have a watch or a wristband or something on my left wrist. Otherwise, I feel uncomfortable. I don't know what it is. It's just a weird quirk. And I'm superstitious about it. I don't know. I just like, whenever I have it, like, I remember one time I was at work and I didn't have anything on my left wrist. I was like, what the heck? I feel so off today. And then I remember I got home and I'm like, oh, that's why. Like, so I remember growing up playing baseball. I was like, I didn't have anything on my left wrist when I was pitching because you can't have anything on your arms but now you can. In college baseball, they have like the freaking scouting report on their left arm. I'm like, this is BS. I couldn't have a freaking like fake tattoo or something like that on my arm.
They look like quarterbacks.
Yeah,
right?
It's a joke. Anyway, other than the slapping on the left thigh and the thing on the left wrist, I can't think of anything. Oh, okay. I would have to get out of the batter's box every time. And like I would kind of like, I'm trying to remember exactly. Like I do 2 times in the back right. Oh, dig twice. No, even if it wasn't like, even if it didn't need to be dug twice. And then you tap the plate, and then I kind of like do like a swing, like a routine basically. And if I didn't do that, I was thrown off the at bat. And I normally was a patient batter. I normally, like, I would walk. It pretty much was a walk, strikeout, or double. I didn't really do anything else. Kind of like Joey Gallo almost. I know I had a high on base percentage in Legion, but I know my average was like 200, but like my on base was like 500-600 or something like that. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Yeah. Superstition. Did you have any superstitions?
The only 2 that come to mind really is when I would pitch, I wouldn't step on the line, which is a pretty common one.
Oh yeah, I didn't do that either. I mean,
yeah, but another one is I would step out of the plate after each pitch too. I would like spin the bat around in my hand. Okay, sort of. I guess just to like relax me a bit. Yeah, just like okay. Not exact. I wouldn't even like step out to like swing or do like a practice swing or fix my gloves. I would just do
no Mark Garcia Para type.
No. I'm pretty boring. Yeah, we don't have a ton of that.
I mean, I didn't have batting gloves to readjust. I was just like, all right, I'm ready.
Yeah. So while we're not exactly the voodoo guy from Major League.
Yeah, no. Jobu.
Great movie.
A fantastic movie.
But there's plenty of superstitions in Major League Baseball, and some are more peculiar than others.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
One that comes to mind for me is good old Jason Giambi.
Okay, I'm ready to hear this. I don't know this one.
So, whenever he would get into a slump, he would wear a golden thong under his uniform to break him out of it.
What?
Yep. And I believe, though I would have to look into it more to confirm this, but I believe he would let others use it when they were in their slumps.
No. Okay. First off, the first question I have is, did they wash it? Because obviously this thing's good luck. But if you wash it, so that's the thing. Like if you're playing well, you can't wash the stuff. Okay, that's one thing I didn't do. I did do. I didn't after I pitched a good game, I didn't wash my jersey. I washed my pants, or no. I don't remember. I know one tournament, like I played really, really well, and I was like, I'm not washing this. I remember like the last game, it was dirt everywhere. So my first question to Jason would be, did you wash this thing? Because obviously if you wash it, the good luck's gone. Yeah. But if he's sharing it, I'm not. That's disgusting.
Yeah. I loved Jason Giambi, though. He was such a fun player to watch.
Yeah, we had his younger brother, Jeremy, for a little bit, and he is not received well in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I can't imagine what walking into that locker room would been like after a game, especially in that era where Giambi had the mustache going.
Oh yeah,
for a little bit too. When he was with the Yankees.
Yeah, gosh.
Oh man,
that's disgusting. That's a great superstition, but that's so disgusting.
Another one I heard about was Wade Boggs. He had a lot of superstitions.
Was he drank like 89 beers?
No, but he was very peculiar about his pregame rituals. So I got a couple lists of them here. So he ate chicken for every pregame meal and was even dubbed Chicken Man among his peers.
Chicken Man.
He drew the Hebrew word chai, meaning life, into the dirt before every at bat. Is he Jewish?
Interesting. I didn't know that.
I don't know. He would wake up at the same time every day.
That's normal. Yeah.
And he would run sprints at 7:17 p.m.
Yeah, so that I can relate to, or not me personally, but I read that Kershaw it's like 7 or like during his warm up or something like that. He's like out at like 5:22. Like he had like none of his times are like 0 or 5 at the end. It's like random numbers random times that he's going and doing it, and it's every single time he starts.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so weird. It's not that it's like a weird increments. What the heck is going on? Pitchers are weird guys. Like I was a pitcher. I was a weird guy. Like I was a very not intimidating guy, but I wasn't afraid to throw it off, like throw it up and in or something like that in you. And I wasn't afraid to mouth off the umpire either, which was not probably good as a pitcher. But if any of the guys know from Upper Marion, I was pretty vocal as my time as a player. But yeah.
But what do you think is more discussed? Well, this might not be a hard question. I'll just ask it anyway.
Yeah, ask away.
With the Jason Giambi wearing his unwashed golden thong, or with the Puig licking his bat?
What's more disgusting?
Yeah.
The thong.
Okay.
I'll lick my bat.
Yeah.
I would lick the bat. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember
he would lick his bat. Yeah.
That's right. But there wasn't pine tar on it.
No.
No. Yeah, no, because then you probably get sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the barrel that he would lick. He wouldn't lick like anything near the hands or anything.
No, it would be up on the bat.
Yeah, so really like you're just getting a little bit of dirt and, some of the leather from the ball, honestly. So probably no, because the ball is touched. I don't know how germs travel. I'm not a scientist or whatever, but I feel like licking the bat would probably be a little more sanitary, especially if they washed, even if they washed the underwear. I'm not wearing someone else's, especially a thong. I'm not doing that. Can you imagine? Yeah, like you said, can you imagine walking into the freaking Yankees clubhouse and Jason Giambi's giving a freaking golden thong to
Derek
Jeter to break out of his slump, and Jeter's like, oh yeah, I'm just feeling it. Like, okay. They should have done a photo shoot. That's what they should have done.
The A-Rod one would have been interesting, I think.
Yeah, gosh, jeez. Let us know in the comments which is more disgusting: licking the bat or wearing someone else's thong.
Yeah. Well, I guess the amount of germs too is dependent on how, like, what kind of lick you're doing. Are you looking like an ice cream cone? Is it just like a light lap, like it? Or is it just like a?
I don't know. I mean, Puig got into it. Like he used a lot of tongue. Like he was all down. God, what are we talking about right now? The caption for this thing is like, we talk about thongs and licking bats. Yeah. Like, come on, what the heck? This is definitely. Let's readjust here before we go off the rails.
Well, it's a superstition and it's an important part of the game.
Yeah. Well, it didn't work for Puig because Puig definitely fell off real quick.
No. But it did work for Giambi, it seems.
It did, because he's got over 400 home runs, right?
Yeah, and he did pretty well for New York.
Yeah,
I don't recall if he did in Oakland, but I remember it was a thing when he was in New York.
I feel like he had to have got it when he started in Oakland, right? In gold, so in the A's were green and gold and white, so
yeah, true.
I figured that.
Yeah.
Either that or he's really into wrestling and probably was like, oh, Hulk Hogan probably would do this or something like that.
You think Jason and Jeremy, like, traded?
Oh, God. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. This is gross.
Well, I mean, other than baseball players, too, fans have their superstitions as well.
That's very true.
The one that comes to mind for me is the rally cap.
Rally cap, yep.
Rally cap. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out where it started. There's like a general thesis as to where it started. It was with the Detroit Tigers in 1945.
Really?
Against the Cubs.
Okay.
And they say, they wore it during Game 7, and that's how they beat the Cubs. And the Cubs didn't make the World Series for, 70 years after that?
Wow.
Well, that was the curse of the Billy Goat,
Yeah,
too,
Billy
that
Goat,
same
yeah.
year.
And that's right, the same year.
It was the same year.
Oh, my God. Jeez.
And it didn't. It was kind of underground for a while, and then it started back up more recently in the 60s and 70s, and now today it's a common sight.
Yeah. I don't see it as much like I did 5-10 years ago. I feel like it's not as common.
I feel like, there was the Rally Monkey in Anaheim.
You see rally towels now,
Yeah.
but you can't have them be white because of the baseball. Like you got the Phillies ones were white back in 2008, but now they're red, which I think is better. I think the red looks a lot cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? There was something with the thing you just said.
The rally cap.
The rally cap. I can't remember. Wait, so the players were wearing it like that, or the fans were?
The fans were.
Okay, that would have been cool if the players were like, all right, let's try, and they're all in the dugout, just like, all right, let's try it.
In 1945.
Yeah. Hey, I do have something that I can add. Can I add? So the Phillies back in 2021, I believe, they had Brad Miller on their team, and they had a bamboo plant that they would take with them because they started playing well with when they had it, and they've just brought the bamboo plant. And it's called. They brought it everywhere in the locker room, the way visiting and everything, and then eventually Brad Miller got Bamboo Brad as his team name, as his nickname, and it was just some weird thing. Like they decided to bring freaking bamboo plant around with them, and that was good luck for them. It's weird things like that get people going.
Yeah. I mean, baseball, I guess, is just a weird sport in general. It has its own culture to it.
I think because it's been around for so long and there's been so many culture changes, like basketball, you've really only had 3-4 types of generations of players. Like you had where it was pretty much only the white guys playing, and then when you got Wilt joining and everything, then you start getting some of the better players joining in the 60s. And then the merger with the ABA and the NBA, and then Jordan, and then now, pretty much.
Yeah.
Whereas baseball, you've had guys since 1876, first year 1886 or 76?
Earlier than that.
I think
it was
70,
in the 1870s.
70s, yeah, with the Braves and the Cincinnati. Those are the first two teams, I think, right?
Pretty sure Cincinnati was one of them.
Yeah, Cincinnati.
They were the Red Stockings.
Red Stockings, yeah. So there's a lot more time and a lot more just different turnovers with it. I mean, you had that, and then you go to pretty much, I think the next version would be Babe Ruth in the Yankees era.
Yeah.
So there's more time for just more things to happen and superstitions and changes along the league for players to adapt than other sports. I mean, the NFL's only been, popular for the last 30 years, 30, 40 years.
40, 50 years, yeah.
Actually, you're probably right.
It really started, I think, in the 60s with the AFL coming up, and then they merged, and it took off from there.
It's now the biggest by far. But yeah. Anything else superstition-wise?
Do you think the Phillies should integrate the wave as a superstition for their games?
Gosh, don't get me talking about the wave. That's going to be the other thing that we have a podcast on is dumb things in baseball that fans are involved in, like things that need to be get rid of. Things we need to be get rid of in baseball. The wave. Okay. Do you want to hear my full thing on the wave? Is that what you wanted to get me doing right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I tried to transition there.
The wave is unacceptable 99% of the game. If the game is a close game, within 2 or 3 runs, and you're doing the wave in the 3rd or 4th inning, go home. Go home. You're not there for the baseball game. You're there. Pay attention to the game. If you're not paying attention to the game, just leave. Get out of there. Now, if there's a blowout, and it's 6th, 7th inning, and it's 10-0, I set my rule. It's 10 runs. It's a 10-run lead. And, you just have some fun just because this obviously not having fun watching the game. Then you can do the wave. I have no problem with it. I know Jeff Passan is on, or is it Passan or Passan? The ESPN guy. Either way.
Heck if I know.
That guy.
Yeah.
The ESPN editor, writer for baseball for ESPN. He said that the wave was an abomination on Twitter about a year ago. And I was like, wow, I can't believe that. I agree with him. It is an abomination when it is a close game. I remember when we were at the game, it was the Yankees-Phillies game.
Yeah.
The guys to a right of us, it was a close game. It was like two, 3 runs probably. Yeah. And the guys to the right of us wanted to start the wave. And I'm like, no. And he's trying to get everyone riled up and like start the wave. And I'm like, I literally am like, I don't know if I stood up, but I'm like, no, don't join him. Don't join him. I was so like in my head. I'm like, watch the freaking game.
But we stopped it.
We stopped it. Yeah, we stopped it because there were people that were like, no, we're not gonna like. They like looked at us or like almost like peer pressure almost.
All it takes is one, my friend.
Yeah,
one man to stand up.
Yeah,
and everyone else follows.
They did try to start it again later in the game, I believe, and failed again.
Yeah, I'm not as passionate about the wave as you are, but I'm not a huge fan of it either.
It's just so dumb. Pay attention to the game. You're there to watch the game. You're not like I don't mind like taking you out to the ball game. That's fine. I love that. Like all the other stuff, the wave is dumb. The wave is dumb. Pay attention to the game. Pay attention to the game. Got me all riled up.
Good.
Gosh,
yeah, I'm glad.
That was good, superstitions wise. Do you have more? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I mean, there's plenty more I could bring up, but those are kind of just the highlights.
Yeah.
Let me see here. There's a.
Do the Yankees have any?
They players or
or just like the fans or anything. I know they do. I mean, necessarily like a superstition, but they do like that. They do they call out the players' names.
Oh yes, yeah. That's like a tradition. Yeah, I'd say after the first pitch, you kind of go around to each player and call out their names, and the players, return.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's Joe DiMaggio. He would always step on second base on his way to center field.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like a reverse of don't step on the pitcher's mound.
Yeah.
A-Rod.
Yeah. Dallas Braden. Yeah.
He got more than his 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
Moises Alou didn't believe in wearing baseball gloves either. So to toughen up his hands, he admitted to urinating on them.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't do that in high school. Nope. I just had calluses. Like my hands were rough, really, all through high school. Like this was something that I really should have done, but I didn't even really use bat grit, like a bat tape or anything. I just used like athletic tape for my grip. And I probably why I had so many freaking blisters. And
because you weren't peeing on them.
No, that's not it at all. That's disgusting.
Well, it's like if you get stung by a sea urchin, right? Aren't you supposed to pee on it? It helps you feel better.
I have no clue. I'm going to the hospital if I do that. I don't know if I'm peeing on it. But
let's see. Richie Ashburn, former Philly. He used to sleep with his bat.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of players doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying. Like this is slowly bringing up my high school time and everything.
Jason Grilly.
Yeah.
He glued a Ken Griffey Jr. baseball card to a Nolan Ryan card and would pitch with it in his shoe.
Wow.
That's dedication.
So he's trying to be like the best of both worlds, like one of the best pitchers and one of the best hitters, even though he was a pitcher.
Yeah, so on the days they pitched, Nolan Ryan was face up in the shoe.
That's pretty good. That's pretty funny.
And if he wasn't pitching, the Griffey card would be face up. And this is his quote: "I guess I thought I would somehow absorb their abilities, gain some use of their superpowers."
Oh, this is great. Oh, my goodness.
Willie Stargell would not use a Louisville Slugger model bat with his name. It had to be another player's model bat.
Yeah, I have heard players deciding to use the other bats just for a while. Let's see.
Yeah, there's Jim Leland who didn't wash his underpants.
What is with these guys in underwear? What is with these guys in underwear? Yeah, no, I when I was in high school or Legion, whatever it is, like there were definitely times where I didn't wash my uniform, but for the love of God, I washed my compression pants and anything that was underneath. That's disgusting.
Well, he won over 1,700 games in his career, so I guess it worked.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, wait, did he win a World Series?
Jim Leland?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Detroit. 06.
No, the Cardinals won that year.
That's right.
He did manage them to that World Series.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Yeah.
What am I thinking of? He did win a World Series.
Yeah, so
Jim
he seemed to be a guy that would adopt superstitions when they started to go on a streak.
Yeah.
So according to what I'm seeing here, in 2011, he smoked a cigar at some point during one of the team's winning streaks and decided to smoke one every day until they lost.
Oh, my gosh.
He also started wearing the same baseball socks every day at some point during the streak, along with the same pair of underwear.
Oh, my gosh.
I will wear these underwear until we lose. Jeez. I can tell you that right now, and they will not be washed, and I don't give a bleep who knows it.
So
I hope to be one of those old men someday.
Yeah, we pretty much already are.
Yeah.
97 Marlins. That's who Jim Lynn won.
True.
That's who it was. I was blank.
He was a manager for the Pirates too back in the day.
Yeah, I always think that Detroit team won the World Series. That
they probably should have. I think they were better than the Cardinals.
Like that 06 to like 2013 team. Like when they started when they get Miggy. A little bit after 06 or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. Like whenever they had Miggy, I was like, they should have won. They should have. Absolutely should have.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jim Lynn won in 97 with the Marlins.
Let's see. I'll just go with one more.
Okay. And then we can move on to my hot take.
Yeah.
And end the podcast.
Yep. So there's the pitcher Turk Wendell, who played between 1999 and 2004. Mm-hmm. Wendell was never without 4 pieces of black licorice shoved into his mouth while pitching.
4 pieces?
Yeah. After an inning ended, he would jump kangaroo style over the foul line and into the dugout where he would spit out the licorice and immediately start brushing his teeth. Then it would start all over again.
What the heck? This is a weird one.
Wendell.
I would be so hungry from the licorice. I'd be like, all right, I'm just going to eat it.
Wendell also wore the claws and teeth of animals that he had personally killed as a good luck charm and insisted that the umpire roll the ball to the mound rather than simply throw it to him.
Okay, that's weird.
Whenever he began a new inning, Wendell would turn and wave to the center fielder and wait for him to wave back before proceeding.
This guy's fun.
And whenever his catcher stood, Wendell would crouch down. He wore number 9 in honor of Wild Thing Vaughn, Charlie Sheen's character in Major League.
Why didn't he just wear number 99?
No, he wore 99.
Oh, I thought you said 9.
Sorry. Oh, I thought I said 99. My bad. And then lastly, he would later sign a 3-year, $9,999,999.99 contract with the Mets after telling his agent, "If I could ever get all 9s, let's do it." So I think out of all the players I've seen so far, this guy is definitely the most interesting.
Yeah, let's end on this guy, Turk Wendell.
Turk Wendell.
When did he play? I feel like he played during
it says 99 to 2004.
Yeah. Only 5 years? Dang, I wish this guy was like a Hall of Famer. He'd be a great story.
Well, Baseball Reference says 93 to 2004.
Okay.
He played for the Cubs, the Mets, the Phillies.
Wait, what?
In 2001 and 2003.
Okay, yeah. Was he lefty?
No, he was a righty.
Why am
I? Career stats: 36 and 33 with a 3.93 ERA.
Not terrible. Serviceable. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
serviceable. Hey, that black licorice and jumping like a kangaroo and waving the center fielder, it worked for him. Got that $9,909,000 deal. Good, jeez. All right, that's enough of the superstition stuff. All right, thank you, Turk Wendell. What, Turk Wendell? Turk Wendell?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for closing out the junk ball section of our podcast, and now we're going to move on to our last section as we close out the podcast. It's my turn for a hot take. Our hot takes haven't been super great this year in terms of coming true. Tampa Bay one that I had earlier, not looking good.
Yeah, my Yankees winning the division's not looking that great either.
No, the Angels one still could happen. It could happen. For me, that was they're going to make the playoffs and they're going to make it to the championship series. That could still happen because they're buying. They're keeping Ohtani. Trout's coming back. That could still happen. Anyway, to go along with the playoffs type of topic right now that we just talked about, I think that a wild card team will win the World Series this year.
Not the Angels?
I don't know, but I just think that a wild card team is going to win the World Series. And obviously right now the Braves are Braves and the Astros are the 2 favorites right now, and I think the Astros are winning their division. The Rangers won last. Rangers? Okay.
So the Rangers are ahead by a game.
Okay. So if the Astros were a wild card team, yeah, then that's a good chance. But I don't think it's going to be the Astros. I don't think it's going to be the Braves. I don't think it's going to be the Dodgers. I think it's going to be another wild card team. I don't think it's going to be the Phillies either. I don't think the Phillies have what it takes to win. But I think, let's see, if I can name I don't think it's going to be an NL team. I think it's going to be an AL. Because I think what it's going to be is the Rangers are going to end up being the wild card team, and I think the Orioles, the Orioles will probably win the division. No,
Orioles are winning the division by 2 games right now.
Okay,
they're hot.
Yeah, they're hot. I'm rooting for the Rangers and the Orioles, but I think the wild card team is going to win the World Series. That's my hot take. I mean, it's not super hot as it used to be because, I mean, look, last year the Phillies were in it. There was a stretch for, like, the wild card team was actually in the World Series every year, but
I could see your prediction coming true primarily because there's not really a team right now other than Atlanta that's pulling away in their division.
Yeah, that's true.
Most of these races are pretty close.
Yeah.
So
it's all right. It's a lukewarm take today instead of an actual hot take. Lukewarm today.
Yeah, so like even if, say, Baltimore does win their division, there's a good chance that Tampa's going to win the wild card.
Yeah.
And Toronto's also in there. And then you have Houston. And if Houston does again, there's also the Rangers.
Yeah. I really hope the Rangers make it. Are the Astros, do they have the 3rd best record in the AL right now? Behind the O's and Rangers?
They're behind the Rangers or behind Tampa and Baltimore. So they're 4th.
Okay. So they have the 3rd wild card spot. Their 2nd wild card spot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Tampa, Houston, and Toronto for the 3 wild card teams.
So in equivalent, the Phillies are the equivalent of the Astros because we're the 2nd wild card spot. That's so weird.
Yeah. It's still a close race in the AL East.
Oh yeah, both races are going to be. Like, there's 5, 6 teams in each race, pretty much. Because the Cubs got hot, they bought at the deadline, and who else you got the Giants, Phillies, Cincinnati Reds, Diamondbacks, and Cubs right now. I think right.
It's San Francisco. Are you talking about wild card?
Yeah.
It's San Francisco, Philly, and Milwaukee. The NL Central would be good race.
Because Cincinnati's ahead right now?
Yes.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
They're ahead by a half game.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. This August, September is gonna be a lot of good baseball.
Yeah.
By a lot of good some of the teams are okay teams. There's some teams that'll pull away. I think it'll be more the veteran teams. Like, look at the Phillies are starting to play a little bit better. Like, over the course of the Diamondbacks are falling apart a little bit because they're a little bit younger. And there was another young team that seemed to be struggling a little bit. I can't remember, but anyway, I think that it'll be a fun time with the playoffs coming up, and we'll definitely have some podcasts about the playoffs and probably our predictions for that.
But you know who is struggling right now?
The Yankees.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's also another New York team struggling.
Why have we not talked about this? The Mets are imploding. It is it's the best thing ever. The fact that Scherzer, Verlander, Canna, Robertson, who else? Pham, and there's one other. They traded one more guy. Who was the other guy that they traded? Anyway, they traded 6 guys, and it's so great to see them implode.
We were talking about this earlier in the year. The Verlander-Scherzer duo
is going to be
could have been great or
disaster,
and it's very much a disaster.
And it really wasn't like Verlander and Scherzer's fault. Like,
Scherzer's not pitching great.
Not pitching great, but Verlander started pitching pretty well towards the end, but he had injury a little bit. But the Mets are they're bad.
Well, you saw what Scherzer was saying about the Mets, right, when he talked to the GM?
Yeah, so they're not going to plan to be competitive next year. It's kind of a transition year. Yeah. And then 2025 would be the competitive. They got a lot of good prospects that they got back from the trades, but I saw a rumor today that they are thinking about possibly trading Pete Alonso in the offseason because he's a free agent after next season. And to be competitive, do you really want to put $200 million into a first baseman.
But do you want to clean house that badly? I feel like you should still at least have one guy left.
Well, they'll have Lindor and who's the center fielder? Who's freaking gosh, I hate him so much. What's his name? He runs so weird. What's his freaking name? What's the center fielder for the Mets' name? Oh my god, I gotta look this up. I'm sorry. This has got to wait.
Yeah, we're very knowledgeable on this podcast.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
Well, he's weird. He always runs New York Mets.
Guy that runs weird. Just look that up. Right.
Center fielder.
Oh, okay.
What's his name? Active roster. Oh my God, Google, you got to be better than this.
So while he's looking that up, I will break down
Brandon Nimmo. God, hate him. Ugh. He's locked up for 5-6 years, and then Lindor's locked up. So you have those guys, and their catcher Alvarez is young and pretty promising. So you have some, but you also have a lot. Like Lindor's getting paid $300 million. Nimmo's got $160 on his deal or something like that. So you have definitely some pot commitments, and you got Edwin Diaz locked up for 4 more years So
it'll be interesting to see how it differs when he gets back.
I think they have it. I think they have it planned right, where next year would be like, all right, transition year, and then they're banking on probably some prospects panning out, and then maybe they sign. Who's going to be a free agent that off season? There's probably going to be a couple big free agent guys, but I mean, it's the Mets. They're going to Met. And this is great. It's so good. It's so much fun.
I think that's a more positive ending.
Yes,
our podcast.
The Mets suck, and it's great, and the world is okay.
They're bad, and we haven't really talked about the AL Central, but no one really cares about.
It's okay.
Division.
The Mets suck. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
All
right. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll catch you next time on another edition of the Junk Baller Podcast.
Thanks for listening, guys.